Lisa, guess what we're going to talk about today?
What, Sammy?
Well, we're going to talk about the real cost of living in Nashville in 2023. And we both appreciate this because we grew up here and it has changed.
We also like to say don't rule out moving to Nashville with what you read online. That information just scratches the surface. And now I know that so much because when I was doing the research for this, the numbers are all over the place.
But the reason she's such a good realtor is what did you do?
So I bought the data from, it's called the Council for Community and Economic Research. And it does the cost of living index. So they have like the best data city to city of what things cost. So they go down to like what it costs to have a cart, like a dozen eggs. So I know that now, how much a dozen eggs costs nationally versus in Nashville, Franklin area. That's the area we're looking at. So stick around and I'll let you know.
We are gonna get you dialed in to the costs of Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep.
One of the biggest factors, I'm sure you can guess what it is, that contributes to the cost of living in Nashville is housing.
It's a big one.
It's a big one. The median home price, according to Greater Nashville Association of Realtors, in January for a single-family resident home was $450,000, and for a condominium it was $325,000. However, this number can vary greatly depending on what area or neighborhood you're in.
Oh, for sure. You're in Belmead versus, let's say, Antioch or anything like that. There's a big difference. And the further you get out from the city center, usually the more affordable it is. Okay, so now that we talked about what it costs to buy a house, let's talk a little bit about what it costs to rent a house. So according to rent.com, these are their recent figures of specifically just Nashville. So we're talking Metro Nashville. Rents fall anywhere from $1,900 to $2,600 is the average cost to rent a home. And that's from like a studio apartment's $1,900 all the way up to like $2,600 is the average for only a 2-bedroom in Nashville.
I wish I could remember what I paid for my first apartment.
I remember mine.
What was it?
It was a 1-bedroom, tiny place on Music Row. It was only $750. That was a while ago though.
That would be nice to pay right now.
Stone Age.
To the cost of living index, Franklin and Nashville was about 6% higher than the national average, which isn't crazy if you consider that LA is double what it costs to live in Nashville.
Yeah, I think when we pulled the numbers, LA was like literally to buy a house the average was more than double. So if you're looking at the other major cities, Nashville doesn't look so bad. Okay, the next thing to talk about is transportation. Overall, in the cost of living index, Nashville was 8% less for transportation, which actually surprises me because in Nashville, most people have to have a car. There's not like a big subway system. We have a bus, but most people have cars here.
It's still, even though traffic and everything we talk about it being bad, it's still commutable.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Anyways, but the average cost of gas right now is about $3 a gallon. The monthly transit pass is only $84 a month. So if you do utilize the public transport, although I'm gonna be honest, I don't know anyone who does.
I don't either. It was really big for a while where they had in different like Bellevue and areas, they had the local parking and a bus would come. But I don't know a lot of people that utilize that anymore.
Yeah. So really the biggest thing to factor in is gas, commute time, and I would factor in the cost of a car.
And parking. I'm going to tell you what, downtown Franklin started charging to park and we have lost our minds. Everywhere you go, you have to pay to park. Another thing Lisa diligently looked up, because it was not on the index, was childcare. And that's a big consideration.
I know.
You would know.
Yeah.
According to what you found on Childcare Aware of America organization, the average cost of childcare in Tennessee is nearly $11,000 per year.
Yes, and honestly, that sounds about right. I pay close to $1,000 a month
in childcare. And I've heard too, I don't have small children, thank goodness, anymore, but there's long waiting lists.
That's the thing. If you want to find somewhere that's a good school and affordable, we're talking like preschools and daycares here. you've got to get on the list. So that's another tip, to get on the list early. All right, now we're going to talk about a big one here in Nashville, which is healthcare. We have amazing hospitals here, and we also are like a mecca for healthcare, the healthcare industry, business.
Yeah.
So this actually doesn't surprise me. We are 9% lower than the national average when it comes to healthcare costs, according to the cost of living index. For example, a doctor visit in Nashville Franklin area is about $106, where the national average has it listed at $124.
That's a big difference.
It is. It adds up.
It does. Death and taxes. You have to consider the taxes. Overall, Nashville is relatively low, and you always bring this up about moving here. You're very diligent about explaining the taxes.
People always say like, oh, the reason being we don't have state income tax, which is why a lot of people relocate here. We're one of the few states that don't have that. But people always say to me, well, you've got a high sales tax. I think it's like 9.25%. But our overall tax burden, I think we're the second lowest in the country. So sure, our sales tax is high, but we have a low state income tax. So overall, the tax burden for individuals is less in Tennessee than most places.
When people look at moving here and they're paying a high income tax in another state, it makes a huge difference.
Right.
When they move here.
Yeah. So really though, it all depends on your income level, whether Tennessee's more expensive for you than other places. Right. Next, we're going to talk about grocery and food costs. Nashville Franklin area is actually 2.5% less than the national average. So relatively speaking, pretty affordable. We're back to the eggs though now. We almost just got in a fight because the national average, they say the national average for eggs is $2.25 a dozen. I know, everyone's up in arms.
I want to know where those eggs are being sold.
And they said Nashville, Tennessee, and Franklin is only $1.83.
For one egg.
No, for the dozen. But Sammi makes a good point. All of this depends on like the quality of the food. If you're going to Whole Foods and you're wanting free-range chickens, or going to a farmer's market, there's a big difference than if you're just going to like the local Kroger.
Right. No.
So,
and we have lots of grocery store options.
And farmers markets.
We do.
So you have the ability to go to Trader Joe's, Whole Foods if you want Sprouts, or you can go to Kroger, Publix, things like that.
There's a place in Franklin that leaves out free eggs if they have one every morning.
I love that.
I know.
Southern hospitality. Last one on our list before we do overall is utility costs. So they used for the cost of living index a 915 square foot apartment for reference, and the utilities are around $142 for energy costs. So that doesn't include water, which I would say is like $30 to $50.
Right.
But it's lower than the national average by about 10%.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
So overall, the cost of living composite score for Nashville Franklin is lower, about 97.7, which makes it about 2% less than the national average. So I just want to say thank you for doing the most up-to-date research on this. These numbers are all over the place.
They are when you're looking at different information. But overall, in conclusion, the cost of living in Nashville can vary greatly depending on your lifestyle, the type of housing you choose,
the kind of eggs you eat,
and where in the city you decide to live. So if you need help finding your place and you want to make an informed decision about where to end up, feel free to reach out to us anytime.